Hey everyone, I'm Benj. This is What Could Be Bad. I'm very excited to be in the second episode of the second season. Today we're outside of Bonanza, Oregon. My band's on tour. O.A.R is traveling the country, and we've been having an incredible time playing shows for people. And one of the things that has made that so special is a new song that was co-written with a gentleman named Brady Watt, who is the guest today. I'm very honored to get to have a conversation with you, my friend. Thank you for doing this. It means a lot to me.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
Nice.
My pleasure.
So I just want to tell everybody, Brady is an incredible bass player, which is kind of one of those things you wouldn't think would work on a tour to have two of them on one stage. But there's so many incredible things we'll talk about that Brady embodies. But I think one of the coolest thing is, as a collaborator, we've really found a nice balance together on stage, you know, of using our instruments to broaden the sound and complement each other and the sound of the band without stepping on each other's toes, which is, I think, a pretty difficult thing to do as two bass players. But I think without the mindful approach that you have, it just wouldn't work. And a lot of that came out of just listening to how you recorded Gonna Be Me, you know, and the bass parts for that, which I'm honored to play and support, you know, the song itself. So I guess, you know, we could go all the way back a little bit, you know, to like where you grew up and all that stuff. But I guess I'd love to hear, because we haven't even dug into too much between me and you about how it was recording Gonna Be Me. I think that's a cool place to start, because it's a friendship, you know, that you built with Mark. It's a song about friendship. Well, can you share just, you know, the idea behind that song, how that all came up and came out?
Yeah, Gonna Be Me started the right when I met Mark, within 5 minutes. Well, first off, my manager, Ian Schwartzman, my business partner,
Yeah.
he brought us together. He had met Mark. He had the idea to bring Mark, me, and DJ Premier together. DJ Premier is OG of mine. He's a legend.
Absolute legend.
Yeah, he's one of the illest. He's one of my best friends, and we've done a lot of work together, and our studio's right next to each other. So
Okay.
Mark came in, we met, said a few words, like really not much. It's pretty funny how little time transpired between us meeting and writing the song. So he opened his guitar case, and the first thing he did was play the riff, the opening riff.
Yeah.
Of the song, and I was
that
like,
quick?
That's it. Yeah, it was the first thing he played. And
Awesome.
and you know, I added some chords to it, some structure. Preem was in the next room. He started laying down the drum beat while me and Mark, because he could hear us through the talkback.
Yeah.
Because we were in the live room.
Oh, cool.
And it just came together. We laid down the foundation, and me and Mark pretty much went bar for bar.
Yeah.
Singing about, you know, just put ourselves in the headspace of our friends from back in the day, our day one friends. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool just going bar for bar with Mark and tightening up each other's lines. And
I love that.
it happened really easy.
Yeah.
And
Is that the case usually?
not always,
Yeah.
but I feel like I'm not really a huge gearhead. I'm usually just trying to capture vibes,
Yeah.
just really getting to it.
Uh-huh.
You know, you got to get a good song going, and you know when you got a good one going. And
Yeah.
sometimes meeting someone for the first time is a great way to start it off.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Because like what, like you're trying to get to know them, and you're sort of doing that through the song.
yeah, and there's a lot of energy from that initial collision.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you might as well grab it. I'm always trying to grab moments,
Yeah.
whether I'm writing it down or recording on my phone.
Uh-huh.
That's why I try to record a lot. Try to do a bit every day, grabbing bits and pieces from every day. It's almost like a journal. I journal as well, but an audio journal, I just keep going.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
With your music, you have like recordings like as a journal type thing, or just the idea of being in the studio and working?
Yeah, everything I make has the date on it, and I revisit them often. Sometimes I'll compose a musical part and then write a vocal part to it months later.
Wow.
Years later.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, from a musician, a composer, one of the most important things is being really organized.
Yeah.
So having a working knowledge of your catalog and what you think is promising and revisiting things, sending them out, it's just an ongoing process, and it has a lot to do with our day-to-day life.
I get that.
It has a lot to do too with our mind state. I feel better when I'm getting stuff done, which we talk about all the time. We
totally.
like getting stuff
It
done.
has to be a productive day, or it's not a
Yeah.
good day.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of feeling good. So, yeah, man.
I vibe with that. I definitely feel like if I'm not moving forward, I'm not moving. You know, I'm just stuck. I get that. Talk to me about you and Primo and how you became friends, because I mean, he's someone that anybody who knows hip hop looks up to. And how did you guys find each other in the world, and like how did the friendship develop? I think it's got to be a, you know, bit of a story to that.
Yeah, I think a lot about, you know, everyone knows like the law of attraction and stuff like that. I think for me and him, he was my favorite producer of all time since I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, you can ask all my friends, like that's what we were bumping. And New England has a special thing for Primo, I think, as a gang star.
Yep.
So even though he's not from there, he's like a hometown hero in New England.
Yeah.
He's important to us culturally. So the fact that we got together, it's not something I would have thought would have happened in my lifetime, but it did, you know. I was paving my way, and we crossed paths early on. We met through an intern of his who knew I was a big fan.
Yeah.
Brought me in the studio, and I got a chance to talk with him for like an hour, talk about bass, talk about Jaco Pastorius and Jamerson.
Totally.
Primo really knows his stuff with music, man. He's like an encyclopedia.
That's awesome.
He knows all the session players. He's just very well-versed in all the styles of music. People know him from hip-hop, but he knows everything about all of it.
Like if you like pick a record that most people would know or something like that, he knows the esoteric details of it, all that stuff.
Yeah, he knows like the liner notes. He's got a memory. I don't know if he's got a photographic memory, but he's got something going on mentally.
Yeah.
Remembering
He can
stuff.
pick it out. Sounds a little bit like the way like the catalog of your work is in your mind. You know, yours kind of sounds like his mind in that way. You guys can
in a
pull
way.
back in, you know, to those moments, those things, those little precise details of music, you know.
Yeah, tapping into different you know, with music you catalog it a little different.
Yeah.
It's probably tied into emotion, like, you know, you get in your car and you know what song you want to throw on that day. You know, so it's some part of your mind. I'm not sure what it is. I ain't a doctor, but it's
Doctor,
musicians
awesome
are
bass
interesting,
lines.
but yeah, man, we met. It was and that was cool enough for me.
Yeah.
And then years went by, and he hit me up because he got an offer to do a Japanese tour with a live band for the first time, doing his catalog.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget when he called me. I was sitting on the couch, and he called, and there's the classic Primo voice on the phone, and he broke down the whole scenario to me that he wanted me to be in the band and help put the band together.
Wow.
It was just a dream scenario for me in my career at that point. I was in my mid-20s.
Wow.
Dream scenario. So I just signed on, and next thing you know, we were in Japan rocking these shows, and one show at a time, just like us right now. We've become friends. Me and you met on the road on the 19th just now.
Totally.
It's only, what's it been, 20-something days?
I mean, yeah, it feels like we've known each other a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's only been that. And I guess in that way too, we kind of got to know each other through music.
Yeah,
know?
you develop bonds with people on the road and performing quick, deep bonds. Like, we have these relationships with all these musicians. It's different than our relationships with other people.
100%.
So, you know, show by show, day by day, we got closer. His manager, Ian, who was like my age, he was on the road with us. Me and him started building. And that's really what it is. We toured the world together, became great friends, and you know, the rest is history, but it's still unfolding. We've done a lot together.
Yeah, and I mean, this song is another step in that growth, like collaborating. I feel like with us, from my point of view, is just really cool because it's like everyone has their unique kind of, like they're the same skills, but they're within their own realms, and they've had their own lives, and now bringing them together, like it's that like it's emblematic of what the friendship song is the friendship you guys have now built, and
Yeah.
like it's building through our camp now. You know, getting to be friends with you, I feel like is like a byproduct of you guys having your own relationship, creating the song in that way, and now we get to embody that as a group on stage every night of the summer, which is a
Yeah,
huge gift.
It's unbelievable. And it's such a testament to the power of a good song.
Yeah.
Because I'm here right now at this airplane hangar in parts unknown in America
I love that.
because of the song.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
people keep asking, how'd you get on this tour? How'd you link up with O.A.R?
Yeah.
And I've thought about it a lot, and I'm like, it's that song. The
Yeah.
song put this into motion,
Yeah.
like the ripple on a lake.
Yeah.
As the song builds up to the music video, to the, you know, to the tour. We released
Totally.
the song the day that the tour started, and it's just working out so perfectly.
Yeah.
But it's because of the song.
It is because of the song. I mean, I feel like there's almost like a life manifestation of like growth and things that happen. Like we all want to keep finding new ways of building our own things, our own platforms. But, you know, and we got to talk about bass and bars, which we're going to do. But, you know, like you have your own massive thing, you know, and we've been doing our thing as a band for so long, but we're always looking to keep it fresh, you know, and find new ways of doing what we do. So it definitely breathed life into that. You know, this tour feels different than other tours as well. So I'm really thankful for it. So we're talking about how thankful I am and we are about getting to do Gonna Be Me. And you know, I had known who you were from bass and bars, you know, which I think is such a fantastic thing. Because one, it's showcasing a bassist who's awesome, hence you, and it's highlighting how important bass is in so many songs that we all love, and it's elevating hip hop culture and bringing a lot of songs back that people haven't, you know, listened to in a while, and just music in general. It's not just hip hop, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of hip hop, which is awesome. But I love how you make each song its own new thing. It doesn't sound exactly like what we all know of that song, and you're really creative in the way you do that. You know, looping things, using your bass as not just like a, you know, the glue between the rhythm and the melody, but you're using it as just a rhythm instrument. When, you know, I've seen you like scratch the strings and, you know, loop things. Like it's really creative and exciting to see that. How did you come up with the concept for bass and bars, and what did that grow out of for you?
Well, it was, I think, 2018. I was releasing music as an artist. I'd, you know, dropped so many songs, and I'd already had a full career. But not as much of a following, but I'd been on the road. I'd done a lot more behind the scenes. So we were thinking of ways to roll out these songs. And we were like, why don't we do a content thing, since I'm friends with all these rappers over the years. Just, you know, they owe me favors, or we're friends or whatever, like that. That's my actual network. Talib Kweli, Evidence, all these, I know a lot of these guys.
Yep.
So I was like, why don't we do a series? Well, it was Ian's idea, my business partner, Ian.
Yeah.
It was his idea. I had done it before and didn't call it bass and bars though.
Okay.
Yeah, there's videos of me doing it like pre bass and bars.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I got to check some of those out.
Yeah, they're out there.
Yeah.
But we decided to make it a series. We shot a couple. We shot one with MC8, and then we shot the one with Evidence in one day.
Oh, no shit.
And MC8 was in a hangar, actually, kind of like this, but
Really?
not for airplanes.
Okay.
It was like another type of thing in LA.
Yeah.
And basically, yeah, the idea was just bass and vocals. And right when we dropped the first one, it was very evident that it worked. So as a creator, you do so much work and you release all these songs. You know when you drop something, it hits different just off the response.
Yeah.
It was getting way more plays than anything I'd ever put out.
That's so cool.
And it was me with an underground rapper, Evidence.
Yeah.
But he's underground, but the reality, he's got so many fans from all over the world, and they know the song too. So people latch on to that.
That's really special.
And then we did the MC8 one. and we did Good Kid, Mad City, his verse from the Kendrick
Yeah. Yeah.
album. And once again, yeah, everyone just latched on, went crazy. So then we just kept on doing it from there. And I had to keep things fresh, and every record is different. So I'll listen to the record and think of ways that I can play the actual music of it.
Okay.
So that's when I started using the loop pedal, probably by episode 3, which I'd already been using in my career.
Yep.
To play melodies, just do different stuff, drum beats. Like there's so many. If you look at bass and bars,
totally.
I've covered all this ground. It's really just out of necessity,
Mm-hmm.
seeing how much I can do from the record.
Yeah.
Without messing up the artist too. I really try to hold it down.
Right.
You know, I don't show off very much on that series.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love it if you did, but I respect that you're just holding it down. I think primarily that's what bass players are supposed to do. But,
Yeah.
you know, you had mentioned Jaco Pastorius, and he was able to hold it down and fly at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like he's all over the place. And it's a special thing to be able to rock in both worlds, which I know you can. And I've seen you pull back and I've seen you let it out. And it's quite evident you can still hold it down while you let all that out. So it's cool to hear that you're conscious of, like, what we use as a band is serving the song. Like you're always trying to serve what the song needs for what your role is. And I get you do that, but you also have to be mindful of covering other instrumentation, you know, at times, depending on who you're performing with and how the setup is, which is a whole challenge for the mind, you know, to like figure out and execute well. And I think it serves, you know, the songs to do that, you know. I respect that. What is the most challenging part of approaching, you know, each episode of Bass and Bars? And I mean, maybe it does vary, but is there something that, like, something you have to like figure out every time, or, you know, like what are the biggest challenges you've dealt with over the years of doing this?
Yeah, the performance part is pretty easy. You know, I practice a lot going into it, but the hardest thing is just getting the location, the logistics, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's easy, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes I'm going back and forth with these guys for years before it actually falls in.
Wow.
Which is why I don't really force anything. They all kind of happen at the right time, seemingly.
Beautiful.
Each one leads to the next one. And I just keep them alive, you know, almost like the writing thing. I just consistently reach out to people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you coming to town, da-da-da. Just keeping tabs on guys.
That's really cool.
And, that's really how we do it. We don't have an agency or anything like that. It's just me, Preem, and Ian.
Yeah, very personal.
They're co-owners of the series too.
Oh, okay.
So they're involved in
That's awesome.
in all that stuff.
I didn't realize Prima was.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like when you look at the listings on like a, you know, professionally done, whatever that is, but like on a television show, and you see the credits afterwards, the amount of people that are involved, I think it serves the efforts themselves to like have great teams, you know, and that frees up the creator to be more creative, to not have to wear as many hats. You know, as a guy who's jumped in and out of different bands, how do you see stepping into that role of being a part of different teams? And, you know, what is the approach for you, you know, going into working with someone like Talib Kweli, who's fantastic, and we've been lucky to perform with him, but he's so talented and he sees so much in, you know, what he's speaking about, but also like musically, I know he's in it with that. Is he very directive? I guess I'm asking like 35 questions because I have so many. But.
Well, first off, I'm at a very privileged point of my career where I only do what I want to do. I only work with people that I really like. I only work on music that I'm really, really excited about. Like I don't have to do any crap I don't want to do.
Yeah, God bless.
And that's like a level to get to as a musician. Most people don't even get there.
Yeah.
It's a blessing of being a band that you love and that it's just great camaraderie, you know.
Yeah.
It's not always like that.
Yeah. I guess I'm asking about that because that, like, when you did go through that, what was that like for your own like mental health, like stepping into other people's worlds, knowing it was work, but it's something you knew you loved doing, but it was maybe not like the forever right fit. Like, how did you deal with some of the challenges in that space?
Yeah. Some years weren't all that easy. You know, there was times where I was working with not the best of company, you know, in my younger years. Because as a freelancer, you know, you're in and out of all these situations.
Yeah.
The game's generally been good to me, but I've had to definitely endure shit. You know, I'm in the rap game. Like, I'm not from school band. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really made my name playing in working in the rap industry. I'm not from the jazz world. I I move in those worlds.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've seen my fair share. You know, there's a lot of
Tough camps,
egos.
huh? Yeah.
Yeah, man, there's like a
Yeah.
lot of egos and there's a lot of stuff that goes on, man. So you
Okay.
got to have a thick skin,
Yeah.
you know, if you want to move in that world in particular,
That's a mindset
because
in
it's real.
itself. Yeah, to
It's
be
very real.
strong, like to go through things and like know who you are.
Yeah, and to, you know, to match people's energy, man, you got to be a certain kind of guy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily I was able to get through all that. You know, a lot of things have made me stronger over the years and wiser, and but it's also taught me to align with like-minded people that are on the up and up. And
Amen.
yeah, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing being with you guys. You guys are just awesome people on the
Thank you.
road, man. Just great friends.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
it's inspiring. I've been taking
appreciate
notes
that.
because all you guys, you're all dads. You know, I'm seeing how you have uh, to balance your bandwidth of being, you know, about to go on stage in front of 10,000 people and you're checking on your home stuff, you
Yeah.
know, the alarms going off, all those little things back home.
Yeah.
So I still haven't gotten to that level yet where I'm like really balancing a family
Yeah.
and doing this extremely high pressure job that we have. I used to act like, because I don't want to like put negativity in the universe, I used to be all like, oh, it's cool, like I'm not nervous, like I can handle anything, and
Yep.
kind of downplaying what I do. But like lately I've been like, no, this is really high pressure work. And sometimes my bandwidth like isn't there.
Yeah.
You know, when someone's complaining on the phone about this and that, I'm like, yo, like I'm about to,
This is an opportunity to do well. Like you gotta,
yeah.
yeah,
So like one of the biggest things for me is being in the right headspace. You know, most of our
sure.
job is that, actually, especially on the road.
It's a difficult place to maintain that equanimity,
Yeah.
when like so many things come at you on a daily basis and faster. I was telling somebody about like when we just went through San Diego and LA, and the amount of, I mean, I'm blessed to have this problem. Let me start with that. So I'm not like, it's like total like good problems to have, is the amount of messages I was able to, receive from like people coming out in LA as well as in San Diego. I live in Encinitas, which is basically like between the two. And it's a lot to take on. And then you balance out resting at night and getting like proper sleep when you're on a moving bus.
Yeah.
That's like a whole thing that can go different directions.
Yeah.
I think over the years, you get used to running on fumes,
Mm.
and doing that because like the moments, like you said about like creating moments, like those are going to pass if you don't reach out and take them or make them the best they can be. But it is a challenge, and it's also like one of those things like you don't want to tell people like how rough you feel it is. Nobody can really understand that unless they've been through it,
Mm.
and then it can sound like complaining or something, which is not what it's meant to be. It's more of like a venting of like your like true feelings about where you're at in your
Yeah, well, they don't really
career.
know if you're always saying, if you're always the tough guy, they're gonna think you're the tough guy and they're gonna feel like they can throw anything at you and it's not gonna
Hmm.
mess you up. And lately I've just been just in the spirit of just being honest. Like this shit is hard to do,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. I'm with you. It is.
You know, but I used to kind of put that under the rug.
Yeah. Kind of like diminish it publicly.
Yeah,
So
like,
people,
no, and it's like, no, it's tough sometimes, man. You know.
what do you find toughest about it?
Well, you know, when you're going in, like leading up to the tour, I was very, you know, practicing a lot, making sure I'm up there singing in front of tons
Yeah,
of people every night, which
totally.
is
You sound awesome.
very, thank you.
Yeah.
It's very vulnerable, bro. You
Hmm.
know, and then keeping your voice intact, keeping healthy enough Yeah, it's a lot leading up to the gigs, but I'm more comfortable now that we've done more of them. But definitely, I was stressed out the week leading up.
Were you? Yeah, like anxiety about how it would go, and all the things falling in place, and getting all the parts down and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I thought you
that's
stepped
there.
in really comfortably. You know,
But
for
yeah,
at
I'm
least
good at
the
acting like that.
perspective.
It looks
you were freaking out a little bit.
a little bit, you know, but
It's okay. Yeah.
really just I do that to myself to make sure I'm really prepared. I mean, the one way for me to get rid of anxiety is just be super prepared. It's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
Is just like over prepare for stuff. You know, bass and bars, even if I know it, I'll just sit there and like just drill the hell out of it. I really like practicing. It makes me feel comfortable and centered.
Yeah.
Really knowing the material. So that way when you're up there, it looks effortlessly.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to be at with it internally for me too. Like, because if you go into a show and there's that one song you're not sure of, and you can end up thinking about that one thing when you're playing these 12 other songs and you're not able to be in the moment. But if you are prepared, that anxiety, for me, it's anxiety. I know that's like I deal with that. So yeah, it goes away with that preparation.
Yeah.
And it's actually something as a band we used to not do. Like, we used to never have a set list. We used to.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was so.
That gives me anxiety.
Like, even just thinking about those
Not having
times,
a set list
I'm like,
is scary. Yeah.
yeah. And recently, you know, this tour is the first tour the set lists have been written, you know, mostly ahead of time. You know, like, we had a Word document or whatever that was going around before the tour started that was like the first 10 shows, and now we have all these variations of those first 10 shows, so it's kind of in the same lane, or we'll add or subtract songs here and there. But that helps me, is when I know that, like, this is the funnel. You know, this is where it's all going in through.
It's good to know what's coming next musically.
Yeah.
Also, I think over preparing is good, because then it's on autopilot enough to where you can really listen. So a lot of my mental energy goes to listening on stage. This stuff, like, I'm doing it, but I'm listening to everyone else. I'm listening to the parts you're playing.
Yeah.
So that I'm playing in the right register. Because these are songs we've done night after night, but we're improvising every single time.
Yeah, it's different every time.
It's always going to be different. So my focus is there, and it's the preparation frees that up in my mind and able to do better.
That's cool to hear, and I respect that. I think, you know, the idea of listening actively is something that this whole What Could Be Bad podcast is trying to do, because part of it for me, like, the point of it is to learn how people deal with the challenges they face, you know. And as a bass player, like, you face the same kinds of things of, like, supporting a band and, you know, pulling all those things together. You also wear other hats too, which is a whole thing, you know, with singing and all, which I'd like to talk to you about. There's a lot of bass stuff I could hit you up on. Yeah, I like that thing. Save that from a dressing room one night for you. Made you go looking. You're like, where's my 40?
Yeah. My 40 ounce.
But so, like, singing, was that always natural for you, or is that something, I think you told me you took some lessons to, like, improve your skills with that?
I never intended on being a singer, professional singer. I was always, like, probably pretty good at it, just from being a musician.
Yeah.
I had a leg up, but it wasn't something I was interested in pursuing professionally. I was very locked in on the compositional end of things and playing bass. I've also been really good at bass for a long time. Everyone knows that. Eventually you have the story of who you are going. But what if there's more to who you are? You don't really know until you do it.
That's what this is for me.
You might have more going on.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome that you saw more in yourself to approach.
It's weird to me, because, like, I just hadn't intended on it. As even my mom is like, I can't believe you're singing on the record. You know, it wasn't a goal, like, oh, I'm doing this, but I secretly want to be a singer. I just didn't really enter my mind.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, they do that and I do this.
Yeah.
And then eventually during the pandemic, I was producing these records, and a lot of the rappers weren't really coming with hooks, so I started to come up with hooks to finish these projects. And it's the most important part of the friggin' song.
Yeah. Totally.
So I started like demoing hooks and kind of was feeling myself. I was like, this sounds good, you know.
That's
And
cool.
I've had people, you know, girlfriends and stuff like that, be like, you're a good singer, you should be singing. Like there was
A couple of
some
like
chatter, and I'm like,
whispers,
maybe I should start doing it. I have a studio with the best mic you can buy next to my friggin' head.
Yeah.
Why not just like try it out? And I did a record. I demoed it for Wiz Khalifa and Papoose.
Cool.
Called "Is It Worth It?" And though the lyrics was, "Is it real and is it worth it? Grinding all your life. How's it feel when I prove you wrong right in front of your eyes?" That was the whole bar, and that was my. And I laid it down for someone else to sing.
Yeah.
And but everyone loved it. And I produced the rest of the song, played all the instruments,
Wow.
and everyone loved it, Wiz included. Next thing you know, I'm flying out to LA. I'm featured on the record as a singer, and I produced it. I'm in the video rocking
That's
out
so
on some
cool.
rock star shit.
Yeah.
We got paid a bunch of money. I got in the Netflix series.
Sweet.
And then I was like, I'm a professional singer now.
Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden, it
was just, I had a lot of validation.
Yeah.
And that was important because even in my own mind, I definitely had thoughts of, oh, am I jumping out? Am I changing my brand up too much? Am I getting out of my lane? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to be your own worst enemy when you start something new like that, especially something vulnerable like that. You're like, am I being like kind of taking too much and too much of me in the spot? Like, what is this really? But that's just all bullshit, man.
Yeah,
if you write a good song, it's just a good song. The truth is we all use our voice and we use our words every day.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. A lot of this stuff is really simple.
So such an interesting parallel, just not trying to personalize this too much, but what you're talking about, finding your voice through music, you know, as opposed to you, I don't think I have a singing voice. Like
you never know.
I've tried. I've done some lessons, and I think I'm better off just playing bass, especially like in the dynamic of our band. It's like there's plenty of people who are singing on stage. They sound awesome, cool. But finding my voice through the podcast, you know, it was one of those, a similar thing, I bet, where it's like a little bit of trial by fire. And also just the doing of this, I'm sure you can relate to that, of like how, like you just have to do it, and you know you're going to make some mistakes, and you know things won't go perfect, but it's more about like continuing and learning and growing
daily,
and continually doing, right, and not stopping just because you have some time that like one of my mics went out on the last episode of the last season, or had like interference stuff happen, you know, and it's just kind of like, you know, like part of moving forward is you have to accept like sometimes that isn't going to be for me at least, it wasn't perfect. Like, even though I'm very much driven to seek perfection and to be prepared and to like fully be ready for whatever, like finding this was healthier even with mistakes than it would have been without it all, you know? So like, I'm glad I stepped into that.
It makes you feel good, right? Like you just like doing it. It's like almost like a new baby for you.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels good. And I think you just follow that at the end of the day.
That's a good compass.
And not get too caught up on the end goal.
Yeah.
You got to just do each one, each song, each journal entry, each vocal lesson, practice every day. I'm only really concerned with the day-to-day.
Yeah.
If you jump to the end, you can psych yourself out and end up quitting.
Yeah, that's
and I'll say I'm one of those guys, like I'm really like, oh, I never once thought about quitting the music industry. I never thought about quitting bass. I pride myself on not giving up on things, but singing is something that I definitely almost gave up on a few times during that period. And it was just my own mind. It was just my own psychology and self-definition and stuff. But I was really lucky. I had so much validation around me and people who believed in me.
Got it.
Because I don't think we always have that. I was lucky that I had the song with Wiz Khalifa. It's like, this is like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, my first shows, dude, were like, as a singer, were with Mark Rebier, opening for him. So I never sang in a coffee shop in front of an open mic. I was in front of 3,000 people the first time, dude. So we talk about pressure. I'm like, that's the type of stuff I'm like, I'm not going to act like this isn't a lot of pressure, man.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
It was a lot. I remember getting ready for that stuff, man.
What was that night like?
I'd only been doing it for less than a year, and but I'm already a well-known musician. So anything I do is gonna be out in front of a lot of people. There's no like little trial period, you know. And that's also part of why I feel like I might have given up a few times. You know, it's like I already got all this going on. Why am I doing this?
Yeah, yeah. Should
But
I
then
mess
this
with it?
be like creeping up on this? What if this is bigger than this?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's proven to be several times. Like the singing thing is definitely working for me.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I thought what you've done was going to be me.
Even if just
Sounds
on writing
awesome.
other people's shit. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Even if that alone, it's worthwhile.
Because writing for other people too, it's like that's a part of being in the business of music.
Yeah.
If those songs do well as a writer, that keeps your career moving forward and puts some ducats in the bank and all that.
Yeah, the other funny thing that I tell people is if you want to double your publishing instantly,
Yeah,
start writing with words.
yeah,
I use words because 50% of the pie is music. And then the other 50 is the words.
Yep.
So if you want to double,
yep.
think.
Yeah, just tap in.
And guess what? We all use those words every day.
Yeah,
Like it's not that deep.
yeah.
It's really not that deep.
And a lot of like the best songs are going to be
Simple.
simple. Yeah. Let's switch to a topic that's very personal, I know, for you, because it's something I'm sure had some mental health challenges with it, which is a big point of this mental health podcast. When you battled testicular cancer, what was it like finding out about that? What went through your mind and your body and your system, and how did you react to, you know, the knowledge that you had to fight?
So I found out, you know, I just felt a lump down there. And for a while, I think a lot of men put it off. I also am a Muay Thai fighter, so I got bruises all over me and stuff. So I just figured I got kicked or something like that. You know, you put it off for a bit.
Yeah.
But then I remember I was in Brazil and I had this one moment and I was like, all right, when I get back to the States, I got to go to the doctor. And then he touches it and it's just basically like, yeah, we're going to have to remove your left testicle. Right out the gate like that, whether or not it's cancer. I was like, oh shit. I'm proud of myself how I handled it. I didn't really get that freaked out. I think I was able to, snap on the defenses, you know?
What, like, I use the term compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Like you like put the pressure of it in a box or something?
Yeah, I was more worried about like my mom being sad about it, dad and stuff.
Yeah. You have a close relationship with them.
Yeah, I'm really close with my parents. And yeah, man, honestly, I just snapped in and got it done. Within 7 days, they did the surgery. And I thought that would be it. I was back in the studio, but then I got the call, like my cancer levels were still high. So meaning it's probably like floating around in there, might be somewhere else in me. So
what's that like to find out after thinking, you know, you're done and you lost a piece of yourself in that process?
Yeah. Luckily, like losing the piece isn't too bad. Like I was cool with that. I'm not really like hung up on it, you know?
Cool. Yeah, I get that.
Everything works, thank God. Like nature gives us two of a lot of stuff for that reason. Because in the wild, something gets damaged and then you have another and it just works totally fine. So that's cool.
It's definitely cool.
Pretty fortunate.
Yeah.
And then, but the chemo thing, that was a bit of another grind. I was pissed because I had worked so hard on all this music. We were rolling out. We had all this stuff going on, man. And, you know, for me, there's never a plan B. Like I got everything riding on this music, my income, everything, man. It's never.
Yeah, taking a break isn't really an option.
It's not a thing.
Yeah.
So I was kind of pissed about that. And I'm like, oh, geez, now I got to do chemo for these months and had to figure all that out. But luckily, God bless America, we're here. I have insurance. Mount Sinai Hospital really took good care of me. It was right by my studio. Actually, I did the same drive to my studio, except I took a right instead for those 3 months. And you got to go in there a lot, like 5 days a week.
Yeah, what's it, like hours at a time, right?
Yeah, it's like all goddamn
infusion.
day. You're there all fucking day.
Jeez.
Yeah, like you drive in super early. I'm driving myself. I was by myself, dude.
Wow.
Driving my own damn self in through New York City traffic, going to the car park, going into the hospital, getting You know, you go and you
Infusions,
feel like
right?
shit.
Yeah. Is it just during the infusion, or is it like the day after is bad? How does it work? Because
It's like during and the day after, and then it tapers off
yeah.
better.
Is it nausea or is it something else?
Yeah, nausea. You just feel like death, you know? Kind of kills you a little bit.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty shitty. I'm
yeah.
glad I only had a few months of it. Some people are on that for years, man. And it'll really mess you up long term.
Yeah, I've got some family that's dealing with it, you
It's
know.
nasty.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like anything good.
Yeah, it's super shitty. So I feel fortunate, man.
Yeah. So those 3
I
months
feel
knocked it out.
fortunate. 3 months knocked it out. It was a grind. You get to lock in. Sometimes life just deals you cards. I'm not worried about how it happened, you know, what caused it, who knows. But when something like that happens, you just got to lock in and handle it. So I treated it just like I did my career, just showing up, doing my best, eating as much food as I can, being positive as possible. Luckily, we locked in a couple deals. My finances were good enough.
Weather the storm.
Yeah, to get through it. So, because, you know, we don't got no like workman's comp. I'm a freelancer, bro.
Totally.
There's no plan B. Like,
Yeah.
there was no GoFundMe. You know what I'm saying? I just
Yep.
like took it on the chin, man.
It's a lot.
Sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, how was it staying positive in that? Is that, I get that's like who you are naturally, I can say just knowing you now, but like in a time like that, how challenging was that? And did you have to lean on anybody, or how'd you
Yeah, I get so
fall
much
back on it?
support from friends and family.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it sounds crazy, but yeah, I never really felt like I was gonna die. Yeah, I just kind of handled it, man. But I feel like that's because I'm able to push stuff out of my head.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a superpower. You know, I've definitely
That's
gained
great. Yeah.
defense over the life that I've lived.
Right.
And but that's one of the big things that when people ask me how cancer changed me, is I feel like it broke me open in a lot of ways, because I think I became too hard from like just life and
Yeah.
being a musician and on just the whole thing. Yeah, I'd become a bit too defensive, and I feel like it opened me back up again.
Yeah, yeah.
In a lot of ways, I feel different, more loving, more empathy. You know, like I didn't cry really until I was like 35. Now I do all the time. Not even out of like sadness, but like gratitude, emotion. When
Yeah.
I'm writing, like I'm just more emotional. And feels good. It just is what it is, man. It's just truthful.
Yeah.
So I feel like it did something to me. Once again, I'm not a doc. I don't even know if it's like chemical or something, but it broke me open in a good way.
I think that's amazing. I think being able to show what you're really feeling, no matter what side of, the spectrum it's on, joy, sadness, all those things are a part of who we are. And mentally, I find that it's really healthy to not code that in anything, not to hide that, and to be able to be in touch with it, and to understand that like the acknowledgement and the processing of that really keeps us in our center, right? Like it's like we do feel all those things, but we don't always acknowledge all those things. And for me too, after all my stuff, and obviously with this, that's what I'm trying to do is like not just have mental health talks about the negative, but like yeah, like I'll cry when I'm overwhelmed with joy because I watch my kid like put a puzzle together or something like that. It's just like not only thankful that he's alive and able to do that, but that I'm alive and able to watch him do that, is a pretty amazing thing. And different from you, I definitely thought I was going, because there was a good like 7 months where we didn't know what I was dealing with, and it just kept getting worse. And so I have some baggage from that. But do you, like, now that you're past all that, I know you're more in touch with yourself in these ways, like with
Definitely, yeah.
yeah, like, do you find any like for me, like I have like triggers of things that like bring up like the stress, like it's PTSD, but it's probably not as serious a PTSD as like a soldier may have or something like that, I would think. But I don't want to diminish my own pain. Someone told me not to do that, and I think they're probably right. But I also equate my life to like relative circumstances. And we're on tour in an airport hangar
Yeah, we're
today,
blessed
and
in this life, man.
we're not like in a third world country or whatever. So, and you hear this wind picking up? It's pretty cool. Anyway, sorry. It's nice to like have a conversation in a natural environment.
I keep looking out.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
so dope, man.
Yesterday when I took a walk at the recreational site, and I love tangents on this podcast, like it's just part of the reality of like this is a conversation. You could hear the wind coming from like a mile away. Like you'd see it move in the trees, and you'd hear that, and then you'd see like the next set of trees like moving, and you'd feel that, and then all of a sudden, like you just like it just you could like I don't know, you just like felt that like the power of the earth moving, and it's really cool.
It's amazing that we're here, man. It's amazing that we have consciousness. Like that's how I don't always articulate it right, but it's like it's unbelievable that all the history in the world and the planets and the stars and the ancestors and the cells and the insects, everything.
Totally.
And we're here as humans on the earth right now.
In this time.
So we're the most powerful. Like I was talking to this real old Egyptian dude. And he was like, all those great powerful people, Alexander the Great, Cleopatra, Bonaparte, all of them, they're done. They're dust. You are the most powerful person because you're here today. They would all kill to be here now.
Yeah.
That's done.
Yeah.
So we're here now. Like
we're in power. Like in that regard.
It's very powerful, man.
Yeah.
It's not going to be here forever.
Totally.
So that's something I get emotional about. Is that, like all my friends and people, the elders, they ain't going to be here forever, bro.
Yeah.
I love them, man.
Yeah, me too.
That's what fucks me up.
Yeah, I get emotional about thinking about my parents.
Yeah.
And, you know, just loving them so much and not treating them as well as they should have been treated for quite a bunch of years when I was younger. Realizing later how precious the time is I get with them, being very thankful for that. And to your point, man, I'm with you. I was at this red airplane behind me. No, I took the orange one up with the big tires. I went flying today. I flew that airplane today for like good 3 or 4 minutes. And when we were landing, I was like, it's just absolutely amazing that we're alive in a time where we have access to these machines and like the things in our world that we get to enjoy and interact with, and the way we can connect with so many people through the internet, you know, and music and in so many different ways. The way it works is just like deeply, deeply affecting when you get down into it and think about it.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous, the odds that we're here.
What are some goals that you still have that you haven't reached, even though you've obviously like, you know, reached a point in your career that's amazing and fantastic and a lot of people strive for?
I want to do bass and bars till I drop. Keep a real solid rapport with everyone. Be known as like a good guy there's no skeletons, man. For bass and bars, in order for that to keep working, I gotta keep everything real kosher, right? Like
no scandals.
No scandals. You know, I'm not even worried about it. But it's like, if I keep on being solid, that's gonna keep being solid. Because they're getting with me. They're like, oh, this guy, he's good at what he does, and he's dope. He's a good guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Keep that going. Yeah. Forever. I want to keep bass and bars going, no matter what happens in my career. It'd be up episode 1,000, whatever.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because it'll always be able to. It'll always work. You know, the views will go up and down, but this big artist with songs is gonna work.
Yeah.
So I want to do that forever.
Love that.
And then with my artist career, just keep making the best songs possible and putting them out the best way possible.
Yeah.
Those writing, just following this journey. Just each one leads to the next one. I can't really call it. So I'm just focused on whatever we just released and whatever's next.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely just having a massive catalog. I've seen a lot of evolution in my own musicianship. So I don't know where am I gonna be in 5 years? from now on. I'm
Hard
gonna
to
be way
say.
better at singing and writing. That I do know. I get better at stuff. Doesn't matter what it is.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, it's just gonna get better, I think, and bigger.
Yeah, I see that happening. I don't think you're gonna have a problem maintaining being an awesome dude and a good guy to people.
It's just it's like a personal goal.
Yeah,
it's like,
I hear you.
Keep it real solid.
You do, man. I can't see that shifting, or you know, like the only way that would be perceived as shifting is if someone was bullshitting just to smear you for.
That'll probably happen.
Yeah, like I feel like unfortunately we live in a world that
once you get
happen.
big enough, somebody's
gonna try to F with you.
Yeah, they try to tear you down.
Yeah, I'm
it
sure.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of stories we both know of people we've already mentioned in this podcast that we don't have to go over, of just the side of human nature that, you know, is questionable in its own right. But that's another thing for mental health, like as an artist, you have to think about too, right? Is like you have to be so actionable about staying in the right, you know, that like, you know, like that's your goal, that is your path, that's what you're gonna do. But we're also aware that some crazy person can completely throw a wrench in a career with like a lawsuit that might be completely frivolous, but we all know bad news travels faster, you know, and it can really like wipe out a reputation. And we've seen that happen with numerous celebrities, and it's a lot harder to make up that ground than it is to actually lose it.
Yeah, there's someone I know that he's a manager, and he got put on trial for murder, and he didn't do it. It was like self-defense or something like that. So what I'm saying is, it went viral when he got the charge, and then some years went by, like he was totally found innocent, he was defending his family, something like that. But that part didn't go viral. Right. Everyone still just thinks he's a murderer.
Yeah, yeah. What is it about our culture and society that we can't be like, hey guys, like we should clear this up?
Yeah, like he's innocent.
Yeah.
You know?
But then
that part don't go up like the first one. So
that's messy.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah,
it's a little scary.
I think that's all the more reason to stick to your, you know, your way of being, you know, in that, like, if that time comes, like you have so many friends that are going to back you. Yeah. You know, that like, it also personally, you know who you are, and you're always going to be like that as a good thing. And the other thing I'm learning big on from you is that idea of like staying in the day that you're in, you know, that's really meaningful to me, because like I'm aiming at all kinds of things these days, and a lot of them take a lot of planning. Yeah. But you can't do something like that's that far out and like get everything done that needs to happen in order to do it. But what you can do is like set daily goals to reach that big end goal. Right. And if you do that and you don't stress yourself out trying to tackle the 5 biggest aspects of what the end goal needs, right, in one day, you're just really trying to like set things up so you can knock all those out in the weeks ahead or whatever that is. Yeah. That's a lot healthier. I think that's a really great way to approach living. And it's also, just like you're saying with music, like a way to be able to go back to a day where you know, oh yeah, like that day I wrote this one thing that would fit with this song, and I can pull that out of the catalog and, you know, like make it a practice where it's like a part of your history, a part of your journal. That's really cool. I think that also applies to like working with your own mind, you know, and being able to set small goals to make improvements over time so you can reach your big goals. You know, like having a better daily routine doesn't mean you become your best self the first day you do it. It's like you start on that path and you do that 1,000 times. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like living a better, healthier life on a daily basis. And it's not like you're trying so hard. It's like what you're saying about getting used to practicing, and doing that regularly sets you up for the greater success.
The consistency is good. And sometimes you'll psych yourself out of staying consistent, but you got to know if you show up, you're going to feel better, and you're going to get better results. Yeah. Yeah. Something in your mind tricks you. Oh, I don't want to do it today. And some days you're tired, you know. Yeah. You know, you're not. I try to 5 days a week. I have a certain regimen. And on the road, it's been different.
Oh man, yeah, that's
a
whole
hard
part of it.
But like I gave myself a little break, and now I'm gonna get back into writing more. Even on show days, I mean, it only takes me but an hour to do these things.
Yeah.
I got my mic and my laptop, so now I'm gonna get back in that mode because I need to.
Yeah.
But when I started doing that, I check stuff off daily. I have like an app, and this has been worked on for years. Now I have it as an app, but I've been checking stuff off forever.
You write it down, you do it, and you check it off.
Yeah.
Like it's like the physical action of that.
Yeah. So it's like it's the incremental growth thing. Yeah. And I can rattle those off. I know exactly what it is.
That's cool.
And I feel great if I can get those things done. Great. Even if I spent 15 minutes on a vocal idea, that could be a hit record.
Yep.
It's happened before. It doesn't always take 8 hours. Like sometimes it's just one piece. You got to just put it down.
That's really cool. I'll keep that in mind too for my own musical
You
stuff.
can tailor it any type of way towards whatever goal. You can look at how to reverse engineer it. Whatever goal you have, you can make a list of things that you do every day, and it can. I think my whole thing amounts to like 3 or 4 hours, and it's like if you did all that, you're crushing.
Yeah, totally. And that speaks to feeling good by being productive, by being focused, and
Also, if you check it out, you ever feel at the end of the night you'll get anxiety because you feel like you didn't do enough?
oh yeah, then you can't fall asleep because your mind's
Yeah.
racing on the 3 things you wanted to do that you didn't hit.
And it's kind of vague, like what's enough? That's why I like having an actual list. I'm just done.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. My thing is, I write these lists, and I go through like I have my like space brain of like it's like way too many things to get in the day, and I should tune this a little different. Is like pick the things that I want to make sure I check off that day instead of seeing the list. Like some of them are checked off, but then there's like a whole bunch of other ones that I didn't get to.
It's hard.
I write
Yeah.
big lists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to do.
Yeah,
You don't always get to all of it.
Yeah.
I ain't perfect with it, but that's what I strive for.
I love what you strive for. It's a
And the
great
ice
approach.
bath is on there now.
Yeah.
From you guys.
Yeah.
We've been ice bathing
Or
it
ice
up.
baths have been real.
Them
real
things
helpful.
help, bro.
Yeah, I know, right?
I could go for one today.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is
Tennessee.
one out here, knowing these folks. But
Yeah, they probably have one. This has been an unreal place to spend any kind of time. Okay, so this has been a very inspiring, awesome conversation, just like all of our awesome conversations this whole run. The last question I've got for you, Brady, okay, is I'm gonna throw a what could be bad record pull at you. And this is where I ask you to share a song. It could be, if there's more than one, that's cool or whatever, or an album or something, I can work with that. But really just a song, hopefully, that speaks to something, an inspiring time in your life, something that's inspired you, not necessarily an inspiring time, something meaningful to you, and why.
Well, one that comes to mind, just because I've been listening to this song all the time on the road, is called Porch Light by Josh Malloy. And I just heard it on Spotify. I don't even know how I heard this song, but it's about touring, and you would like the lyrics because you can tell the guy's currently on the road because it's all the crap that we do. Like,
Awesome.
you got to hear the song. It's called Porch Light.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
It's
I haven't
just
heard
about
that.
the day-to-day road stuff and working really hard out here. And it's also glorious, though. We ain't complaining, but also just coming home to something.
Cool.
Having your home life intact. That's pretty much what the song is. And certain
that.
songs just speak to me. I don't know anything
Yeah.
about this guy, but I heard it and I've been
Yeah.
listening to it on repeat. So I love it.
I love it when you find something like that because it like opens you up to like a whole another thing that you didn't know about it, like one way or another, whether it's the artist or that song or whatever.
Oh, I
Just
fall
find-
in love with songs, man.
Yeah.
Certain ones are just magic, bro.
I love that. I mean, that's probably why we're doing what we're doing,
Yeah.
because we have such a tie to the music,
Music's one of the last magical things we got on Earth.
Yeah.
Because I'm in it neck deep, you're in it neck deep. We still can't really explain what it is.
It's true.
It's just something magic that I'm grateful we have.
Yeah, totally, man. That's a good point that sometimes I don't think about because you get so caught up in doing it. And, you've got your list of things for the career that you have. You got to do those, but you don't think of the bigger picture all the time of how like wonderful music is for the human race and just in general for I think, you know, like communities. Like I always think about, when I think about music, I think about community, because it's like that old thing, like if a tree falls in the woods, no one's there to hear it. Did it make a sound? Like if you have this beautiful music and no one ever gets to hear it, is it really doing anything? So why do we make music? It's so we can be with others, so we can connect with others and feel something. Hopefully, like Mark says, anytime we do that together, we feel better leaving that situation than we did when we got there. That's one of the bigger things I always think about with music. But you're right, like I couldn't define what that is, you know, like it can be so different, you know, for each person who tries to say what that is. So how could it be one thing?
Right.
You know, we're all just lucky to have it.
Yep. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Gotta leave room for some magic too in life, man.
Yeah.
You know, the day-to-day stuff, we do that, but then also sometimes you just get a friggin' royal flush, man.
Yeah,
Sometimes
totally.
sometimes it's the opposite.
Oh, totally, yeah.
But I know I'm always open for the best things to come my way.
You know, man, I see that in you, and I think we're lucky that we've crossed paths with you and gotten to make music together, you know, not only a recording, but to tour, which is a whole other type of music to me when you get to play live with people. You know, I think it's really just been a magical summer, and we're at the top of the hill and we're about to start coasting down. You know, this 2-day break has been really special. You know, there's so many good things that have even just happened right here that
Oh my God.
people will understand later when they see the other thing. Actually, they'll probably see that before they see this, so we could probably say
This will be out, yeah.
Yeah, because
So this is where we shot Bass and Bars episode 61.
yeah, man. And what could be bad? Season 2, episode 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
2 in a row, bro.
I love it. Yeah. So thank you so much. I definitely enjoy every conversation we have, but this one, absolutely. And I hope people can pull out wisdom from all these things you're sharing about yourself, because I certainly did. And that's the whole point of this, man. So
Thank you, bro.
thank you. Much love, bro.
My boy.
Yeah, back at you. Later, guys. Thank you so much. Tune in next week. We'll have another episode. We'll see you there.